Hey everybody, how you doing? A few days here before Thanksgiving, and I thought I would knock out a video for Sunbird Nation. This one's for you guys. Recently, a friend of mine, one of my Sunbird friends, he sent me a message on Facebook asking me if a Turbo Grand Prix throttle body would bolt up to the Sunbird intake manifold. I'm not familiar with the Turbo Grand Prix throttle body. I like those cars. They're really cool. I never had one. But I've done a little research here and there, and it didn't seem to me that the Turbo Grand Prix throttle body was like a secret modification for Sunbirds. So I did a little research, and from what I found, that throttle body is the same throttle body as any 2.8 GM car of that era. They made the Turbo Grand Prix in 89 and 90, to my recollection. It's a 2.8 V6, 205 horsepower. Really cool looking car. If you've never seen one, you should Google them, and I'll try to drop a picture in here somewhere if I have the technology. So anyway, my response to him was, as far as I know, that's the same throttle body as any 2.8. It doesn't bolt up to our intake easily, and the mouth of it is oval. So your intake hose won't fit. You gotta get creative. And why do you want to do this? I know you want a bigger throttle body, but isn't the Fiero 2.8 throttle body the tried and true go-to on these cars if you want a bigger throttle body? Or you can go to the larger, I think it's 46 millimeter from a 2-liter MPFI engine that came out in, I think, 92. So his response was, no, I heard the Turbo Grand Prix throttle body bolted up and it was well worth it. And I again said, I don't think so, dude. And I gave him a link to 2 videos I recorded where I compared Fiero throttle body to stock Sunbird GT throttle body to the 2-liter MPFI throttle body. And I was about to scold him for not watching my videos and gleaning all the knowledge that I put in there for you to partake of, when I realized I didn't show a Fiero throttle body. I showed the stock Turbo Sunbird throttle body and the MPFI throttle body. And I talked about the Fiero throttle body, but I didn't show it. I showed the intakes, but no Fiero throttle body. So that is my mistake. So let me atone for that now. So gathered together here, we have an assortment of grungy throttle bodies for you to take a peek at and learn from. Starting at my top left, this is a stock Turbo Sunbird throttle body. Yes, it's disgusting. It has 4 vacuum ports on the bottom. The IAC is broken off, and it has a hole in it for the idle speed, I guess. I have never modified this thing. I don't even know where I got it. Must have came on an intake I bought at one point. So I measured it, and it's 1 inch 7/68 inside here. I didn't go to the taper. If you notice, it's slightly bell mouth. That's cheating, so I didn't go there. So it's 1 inch 7/68 in the throttle bore here, and on the back side, it's 1 inch 6/90. Tiny. That is like 43 millimeter if you do the math. And your throttle arm is, like this, and it has the piece in the front here for the tranny. There's your gas pedal arm. Nothing, crazy. But that's what it looks like. For you 1.8 guys, here's a little love for you, because there's never anything posted that I've seen. This is a 1.8 turbo throttle body. And measuring this guy, it is identical to this one. 1 inch 7/68, 1 inch 6/90. I measured 6/89, 6/90, same thing. Except the hole in it. That's about 43 millimeter, the throat. Backside's the same, tiny. The only difference I see is it's missing this vacuum port that this one has. Other than that, it seems to be identical to me. I mean, compare myself, but placement of the crap is the same. It's the same to me. So let's say that these two are the same. Matter of fact, the part number on this one is 1002-5724. And this one is filthy. Maybe you can read it. I can't read it because I'm looking through my viewfinder, but maybe it's a different part number because it's a different year, but plus it's got that vacuum port missing, so GM would give it a different part number, but I'm going to go with the assumption that they are identical. They measure the same, so to me, they're all the same. All right, next up is the MPFI throttle body. This one, hang on a second. I never had an MPFI Sunbird, so I'm assuming this is upside down, and it goes like that. I don't think the GM would put the gas pedal and transmission cable on the opposite side, but what do I know? So this is an MPFI throttle body. It measures 2-inch 075 and 1-inch 963. So 1-inch 963 is probably going to be this side, and the 2.075 is this side. And this one's not bell mouth, it's a straight bore, which is kind of cool. But that's 52.7 millimeter. You want to call it 53? Knock yourself out. This one is much different, as you can see. It has the different plugs for the IAC, the TPS. The throttle arm is different. You could probably make it work, but it's oriented differently. There's nothing for the transmission. Actually, I take that back. It goes here, I guess. A different kind of cable goes in this hole. It's a similar orientation, not the same. Vacuum ports are different. It's got heat for the throttle body, so you don't get icing. It's a similar orientation. But as I proved in my videos, which you should have watched, if you didn't watch them, shame, I make them for you guys. The spacing on these two bolts is much different. You cannot bolt this to the Sunbird turbo throttle intake manifold. It won't fit. There's nothing. If you put this bolt in, this one's hanging in thin air. There's nothing there. Go watch my video. I'll try to link to it so you can see. There's nothing there. It will not work. A friend of mine years and years ago, Ned was the original Turbo Sunbird guy I'm aware of. And he used to run a 5-liter Mustang throttle body. He made an aluminum plate that bolted the intake, and then he bolted the throttle body to that. You could do that if you want. It's a lot of work, but that is your option. Finally, this is the Fiero 2.8 throttle body. Now, I was told this was a bolt-on swap back in the day, so I bought one off eBay for like 40 bucks. They are not a bolt-on swap. They take a shitload of work. Many changes to make this thing work. It works. Once it works, it's great. I think I picked up 20 horsepower, somewhere around there, 20, 30 horsepower. I mean, my car was running like 99 in the quarter mile. And I think about 101 with this throttle body. And that was the biggest glaring difference. So that's, 99, 100, 101. That's 20 horsepower, Every 1 mile an hour is 10 horsepower. You can do it off ET if you want to, but that's the easiest way to look at it. So it's about 20 horse. If your car can use it, I wouldn't put it on a stock Turbo Sunbird. Expect 20 horsepower. You're probably going to be disappointed. But anyway, this measures 2 1/8, 2-inch 0.127 in the throat, and it is bell mouth. And on the back side, it's 2-inch 045. So one dimension is 54 millimeter. The other dimension is 52 millimeter. A lot of people call this 53 millimeters. That seems to make sense. To make this thing work on a Sunbird, you have to do a bunch of stuff. First of all, it comes with a coolant line that goes in here and there to heat the throttle body like the MPFI. I like to just block those off. Let's take these bolts out. I block those off. I think I drill them and tap them, put epoxy over them. It came with this vacuum fitting, which I don't think you need because there's nothing on the top of the Turbo Sunbird throttle body. I had to add this fitting, and the way I did it was, I think I drilled straight through to here, and then I drove this thing in, and then I Allen screwed it. On the back side, I'm trying to remember why. I know why I did this. I was trying to make the difference between ported and non-ported vacuum for the accessories, and these channels ran together. So I epoxied them to stop them, and then I milled this flat, sanded it flat, whatever I did, and then I drilled into the throttle bore to get the vacuum to go to the vacuum nipple the way I needed it. It was, like I said, a lot of work. It was a ton of work to make this thing work. The biggest thing I did to this used to be where the IAC got its signal from or dumped from. And that won't work on a Sunbird because this is the only face you have to mount to the intake. So what I did was crazy. I blocked this. I drilled it tapped it, and I think I RTV'd it, whatever. It's probably JB welded inside, whatever, epoxied. So I blocked that channel, and then I drilled through the throttle body on a 45-degree angle into the channel where the IAC goes. I'm telling you, there was a shitload of fucking work on this thing to make it work. I mean, I wanted it to work just like a stock Sunbird throttle body. I don't know how else you're going to plumb this thing in. Like I said, I had a separate pipe or something. So I did all that shit. A bunch of holes in here. I plugged that hole. I do have a sheet I drew up detailing exactly what I did to make this work. If you guys want it, I'll find it. I can email it to you. I don't know how to post it here because it's not hosted on any websites. It used to be back in the old days. It might still be on jbody.org if you hunt for it, but I still have it anyway. All right, what else did I do to this guy? Let's see. The throttle arm, if I recall, that was different. This piece right here, you can see it's welded. It used to be on this side. If you look right there, you can see I cut it off. See how shiny that was down there? So I cut it off that side, put it on this side, and welded it back on. So it meets up with this for the tranny. And then this, I think I took a Sunbird throttle arm and it slides over it. Like I said, it's a shitload of work. It was a ton of work to make this thing fly. And then I had to add these two fittings down here. And again, I had to drill into the throttle body, which I believe I drilled from this side. You can see they're just peeking through right there. You know, again, you're trying to get ported vacuum and non-ported vacuum, manifold vacuum. So you got to look at one of the original ones, decide what you need, and then make this thing work that way. And the last thing is you got to use Allen bolts to mount it to the intake. Why is that, you ask? That's a great question. Here's why. Since the stock bolts don't fit. Ha ha ha, look at that, huh? I think that was the point I said, son of a bitch. So it was a shitload of work to make it work, but it works, which is kind of a Dr. Seuss sounding sentence, but it does work. It mounts up great once you're done. I plan to put it back on my car one of these days. I got it running with all the original stuff just to make it easy to tune it. Now that it runs really well, I want to throw this back on someday. I have not looked on eBay in years to try to find one. They don't go for a whole lot of money. A lot of the Fiero guys put Cadillac motors in them or small block Chevys or what have you, so I'm sure you can find it at one of these things. It's only the Fiero throttle body. It doesn't fit anything else. For some reason, Pontiac designed their own intake. It's like an X-shaped intake with a mount that was for the Fiero. Had like a long throat on it. I'll try to put a picture of one of those in here too for you, so you see what I'm talking about. This is a Holley throttle body. For some reason they use that rather than make their own, Sunbird style. You got me on that one, but I know it's a Holley throttle body. I think it says it on somewhere. Probably right on there, actually. I don't know. I know it's a Holley. And it only fits the 2.8 Fiero, to my knowledge. So there you go. It's a shitload of work. You can make it work. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But it is not a bolt-on, as I was told. And is it worth it? I mean, if your engine will support it, sure, it's worth it. Like I said, I got 20 horse out of it easy, so. I only had 15 pounds, 16 pounds of boost at the time, so. If you want to go for the gusto, that's what you got to do. But don't forget, too, you can't just do all this shit and throw it on because the hole in the intake is 43 millimeters, like that guy. So it's a senseless, journey if you're not going to make the hole in the intake bigger, which is a whole other modification. So there you go. That's what you do. That's how I did it. That's what it looks like. And the only thing I was going to show you was these fuel rails. This is a stock Sunbird fuel rail, Turbo Sunbird fuel rail. The injectors go here. This is where the original stupid fuel pressure regulator goes under the intake. Horrible place for it. It's got this goofy bubble flare on it too. It's European. What do you want? They do weird shit. Sorry, all my European subscribers out there. No offense. Here's your Schrader. Here's your fuel outlet, I guess. Inlet, outlet, whatever it is. Who cares? What was I going to show you about this? Oh, I know what it was. You cannot adapt easily a adjustable fuel pressure regulator to this thing. You can even get at it. It's under the intake. It's a pain in the ass to get at it. So what I did on my car, this isn't the one I used. No, that one's on my car. This was a spare I had made. I had them cut that line off, and they silver soldered, radiator shop. They silver soldered in a line for me with a this. Oh, that's right. That the return is part of the regulator. That's right. So this is the inlet, and the regulator has the outlet because it clamps off the return line to change the pressure. That's right. So the inlet and outlet are on the same side now. It's just quarter pipe, easy to plumb to. This one isn't as pretty as the one on my car. It'll work. A friend of mine told me, why do all that hard work? He just cut his off here, and I think he said he double flared it. I never really thought about that. I guess you could do that, but it's still behind the intake, under the intake. What a pain in the balls to get to. So I much prefer it out where I can get to it. So that's your choice. Do whatever you want. Of course, on my rail, I cut it right here, here and here, and I welded, I think, flat plate on both sides, you know, top and bottom, so I could weld a nut on the back and then bolt this thing together instead of having to fight with these. Again, these are under the back of the intake. You get it like this to get to them. What a pain in the balls. This is so much easier when you cut them, and I showed that in the video. You can check my videos to find that, but if you have it on the bench in front of you, that's the time to do it. So anyway, and this is a 2-liter MPFI rail. Much different looking. It's pretty cool looking, really. It's like an old, like an Edelbrock or something. It's aluminum. It's squared off. It's cool. The regulator is here, which is much easier to get to. Is your return line, your feed line up here. A friend of mine has the MPFI intake on his Turbo Sunbird. He liked it a lot. So whatever you want to use. I don't care. Whatever works for you. This is weird, but what do I know? So there you go. There's all the pieces, parts, and like I said, I'll try to superimpose a picture of a Turbo Grand Prix throttle body, Fiero intake, whatever else I think of that you might find interesting. I'll try to stick in here so you can take a peek and go, ooh, look at that. So I hope this helps. By all means, look at some of my old videos. I'll try to put the links in for those. Any questions, let me know. Hope it helps somebody. If not, well, you know, there's 17 minutes of your life you won't get back. Sorry, guys. So if I don't talk to you, happy Thanksgiving, and hope your projects are going better than mine. See ya.